So this lesson went pretty well. Most likely because of the fact that they were collegiate students. Although I would suspect that when you're dealing with freshmen in high school, they're able to process pretty well at that point. Having been in high school as a freshman and having taught high school freshmen, I realize, of course, that not everybody is on the same level, but that's okay. What would you do for the next lesson immediately following the one based on the data that you collected? Well, the first lesson was only supposed to cover the first line of the solfege for Can't Stop the Feelin', so I suppose that for the next lesson it would just be a continuation. It would continue with the solfege. Although, quite honestly, I think that a better idea would be to teach them the solfege of the intro, the first stanza, and then the verse, and then it'd be interesting to make them try and figure out the rest, because it's just kind of a repeat at that point. And then maybe farther down the line I could change the key on them. I could ask them to maybe try it in D, or maybe E flat or something like that, if they're feeling really ambitious. How might you expand upon or challenge your students in the future in the places where they excelled? Well, Savannah and Mari definitely excelled. Mari a little bit more than Savannah, but that's okay. I guess I could probably not give them as much guidance, or I should say not as much pushing along. I helped them a lot with like call and response, but I guess I could challenge them by having less of the call part, and maybe I could just play it on the piano, and instead of reiterating the solfege, I could just ask them to sing the solfege right after I played on the piano. So essentially, just taking away the training wheels a little bit more each time could challenge them. In what ways could the active listening help? What might be the benefits of integrating listening regularly into instruction? So first of all, I think that listening is a part of the American high school curriculum that is kind of neglected. I mean, of course, we listen all day as musicians, but intentionally listening is something that is not a large part of our day-to-day lives, at least in the classroom. I think that if we had more classrooms that allowed us to not only listen to songs and enjoy and appreciate them, but use those songs as lessons, that we would have much better musicians, and we might even have musicians that just really enjoy music more. It doesn't happen too often, but sometimes students are just turned off to music because they feel like it's too serious or it's too academic or whatever it may be. So I think if we added more listening into the curriculum in general, we would have more students, we'd have a higher retention rate. The weaknesses or potential drawbacks, well, I suppose maybe it does simply take away from time that you could be practicing the music. I'm talking specifically in the context of band. Some students might not learn by listening. So, yeah, I mean, quite honestly, I don't see too many potential drawbacks. Maybe some students think that it's a waste of time, or they might think that the song has nothing to do with them, or Or the teacher could not be a good teacher and just be playing songs for the sake of playing songs. But quite honestly, I don't really see too many potential drawbacks. What ways can this type of active listening to music help inform your work with the students? So, I like this active listening because it's very much immediate feedback. Of course, playing in band is immediate feedback, but I feel like singing is more so because you can't hide. You can't hide behind the instrument. You can't blend in with students, although I do recall Dr. Sweet saying that it's actually pretty common in choirs to pretend that you're singing. News to me, but I've never been in a school choir, so but at the same time, it's just more intimate to me. It's more so an opportunity to get to know where the kids are in their level of musicianship. Some of them might be really good with solfege, some of them might not be. Some of them might be on their way to being good. And beyond that, some of them might not have the most developed ear in the world, but they're working to get there. I guess active listening shows you the level of talent in your students. I don't even like using that word because we get hung up on talent. We think that kids who are playing at a professional level at 16 are far more talented than other kids. That might be true, but I think it's just the fact that they work 10 times harder than the other kids. There are a lot of rants in this video, I'm sorry. So yeah. I think that it was a successful lesson, and I'm curious to integrate it into a legitimate setting. By legitimate, I mean like an actual high school classroom. So we'll see what happens.